What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
It was good.
movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to ITCAFpodcast. Oh my goodness, first episode of 2025.
Yes.
But we just wanted to dedicate this episode to everyone out in Los Angeles and California that is being affected by the fires right now. It is very, very bad. And a lot of our friends are out there. Some family is out there as well. So we just wanted to take this time and dedicate this episode to everyone out there and the victims who have lost things in this fire.
Yeah, it's devastating. Please, if you can, at the time of this recording, there was 5 fires still going. It's the worst fire disaster in California's history, if you can believe that, with all the fires that they have. It's every day it's getting worse. The death toll is going up. If you can, please find a way to make a donation or bring food, or if you live out in the Los Angeles area, offer up your home or space or anything that you can do to help, guys. It would be greatly appreciated. They are in so much. These people have lost everything. Everything. They need food. They need shelter. They need clothing. They need, if you name it, they need it. We, on behalf of Crazy Ant Media, have made a donation for goods to be bought, and hoping that we can continue to do more. But please keep everybody in your thoughts and prayers, and let's hope Mother Nature can, with this winter storm, can put some rain down on there and help these brave first responders and firefighters, many of whom are putting their own life on the line while their own houses are burning. And doing the best to save these people and their homes. Yeah. Woo! It's a lot.
It's difficult. It is very difficult. But like we said, we're dedicating this episode to everyone out there. If you can make a donation, please do so. But we have to bring the bright side of life out as well. So
Yes!
we're hoping to have a little fun with today's episode. So let's get into it. Hello, everyone. So you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the 3 biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching non-stop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, year 8, going into year 8 of ITCAFpodcast, and it is episode 280.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, and you know your host with the most, myself, J. Logan Austin, a.k.a. J-Lo Fantastic. And then, of course, my lovely co-host, Miss America herself. Oh, wait. I have Dustin, my father-in-law, a.k.a. Man, Crazy Ant CEO, and we also call him The Mouth.
Yes, what's up? You guys know, man. We're rocking. It's a celebration, man. It's a celebration. Right. Got the tuxedo shirts on. Come on.
Celebrate good times. Come on. We are here to get a little crazy, and we're super excited about it because we're trying out some new stuff on today's episode. The box office draft that we are doing. Man,
yes.
Man, we're going to be talking about what we think is going to be the most profitable year for cinema. Potentially. Man, it's going to be super exciting.
It is.
And then, of course, before we jump into everything, we're going to give our top 5 2025 predictions and, of course, recap our 2024. But before we jump into all of those beautiful things, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and tell us what you actually think about the show, because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on this podcast helps this show get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, but especially those who enjoy the entertainment industry. Man, we are all about lending a helping hand to the up-and-comers trying to break into the entertainment industry here at Crazy Ant Media. So that's what this podcast is for. That's what we are here for.
Yes.
Man, oh man, it's going to be a great freaking day. But like I said, we're going to be talking all about this upcoming year and what that means for Hollywood and the greater entertainment industry. Hopefully, we can start to move back towards a beautiful, beautiful day of money, of entertainment industry just doing its thing, making the world talk. That's what we love about movies and storytelling. And so we're hoping in 2025 we can get back to that, and some beautiful things will come out of Hollywood. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think they're on that. I think they're on that way, because we kind of we know a little bit about the industry. We're connected. We got it going on a little bit, and we saw towards the end of the year, we were seeing a little bit of a resurgence at the box office, and we were seeing more people get back out, and I'm excited for 2025, and I'm excited to see what you've got picked for 2025, because we did pretty damn good in 2024. I'm just saying,
That's right, man. That's right. And then, of course, before we jump into everything, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. Right now, it is free shipping for the rest of the weekend. And I just got myself in some shirts right here, right now. Spoilers, love that one. That one's so freaking fun. It looks so good on the white t-shirt.
It does.
And then for our Everything's Okay podcast, I got this bad boy. Focus on the good things. So be sure to check out our Crazy Ant Media gear. We have it right now on our website. Like I said, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got a little bit of something for a little bit of everyone.
Yes.
But like Dustin and myself mentioned, kicking off this show with teasing a little bit of everything, we are in season 8 of ITCAFpodcast, which is absolutely crazy. Man,
yes.
Inside the Crazy Ant Farm has been going through so many iterations throughout the years. We're trying to learn, grow, and get better every single day, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job at that. And so we're going to tell you all the major events we think are going to happen this year in 2025 in the film and television industry, or the entertainment industry overall, as well as films that we think are going to make the most money at the box office. I've heard a lot of rumblings around the entertainment industry in 2024 where everybody's just like, survive till 25. That's a big phrase. Survive till 25. So we're going to see, is the entertainment industry going to recoup that money that could have been made the past couple years? We've had the strikes, we've had fires, we've had, the pandemic. So many things have been derailing the entertainment industry. So hopefully we can get back on track this year. Now, with this box office draft, man, this is completely new to Inside the Crazy Ant Farm, and we're super excited about it. There is a little twist. Dustin and I are both going to try and freaking pick what we think are going to be the most profitable films throughout the whole year. We don't know each other's picks, so we do have alternates on the list just in case that happens. But man, oh man, it's going to be very interesting. But the twist at the very end, we're going to pick each other's fifth and final one so that we can see if we can derail each other's box office predictions a little bit. So it's going to be very freaking fun. But man, let's talk about our predictions first and foremost. In 2024, this is our first year that we publicly made predictions about the entertainment industry. And honestly, I went back and watched the video before coming back to ITCAFpodcast for 2025. I went back and watched the video, and man, oh man, we did actually pretty well. I was saying in that video, I wish I want to bat 500. I want to get 2 out of my 4 that I had right, and I got 3 out of 4. So I did pretty good. And I'm surprised by yours as well, because you like to reach. I do.
And
you did well as well. So let's just get into it. Let's do a nice quick overview of what 2024 brought to us that we knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
We are inside the Crazy Ant Farm, and we are inside the entertainment industry.
Hell yes.
So my first one, we can do a nice back and forth like we do all of our other segments with top fives and things like that. My first one that I thought was going to make a nice resurgence was video game adaptations.
Yes.
Video game adaptations did very well, and there's still a bunch more in development and pre-production and almost in production right now. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I think that is a new turn in the entertainment industry to create a whole different genre that I believe will also generate a bunch of money for the box office. I mean, we saw Sonic the Hedgehog 3 come out this past year.
We did.
And the first one came out less than 5 years ago. So that particular franchise is continuing to rack up a lot of freaking money. So I'm very happy about that. I'm sure we're going to see many more of those to come. So I'm excited to see that as well. But yeah, my first one, video game adaptations, I was very happy to see.
Hell yes. Okay, my first one did indeed. I said that I thought that they would right the ship at Marvel because they had been having, while they held on to the crown, they always were the number one movie when they released a movie. They weren't making as much money. The shows were getting critiqued quite a bit because they were being pumped out left and right. The quality went down. I said that I thought that once Chapek was gone, Iger was back, they reestablished the Iger-Feige team, that they would right the ship and reclaim the dominance and reestablish themselves. And that's exactly what happened. Iger came back. Iger and Feige got together, said, let's slow this shit down. Let's go quality over quantity. Let's get it back on track. They scrapped almost all of Daredevil that had already been shot, went back to the drawing board, said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's put it back towards the Netflix Daredevil. Let's kind of guide it there. And then, of course, the announcement from the Fantastic Four, if you guys have seen Thing, how he's going to look, every kind of the steps there. Of course, the massive box office success, the biggest movie of 2024, Deadpool and Wolverine, clearly reestablished what they expect to do at the box office every time they release one. Then you saw the trailers for Captain America New World Order, which is clearly going to reestablish the Captain America format of like spy thriller type. They're on the right track, guys. What If? Although the final season was clearly the best season, in my opinion, they've really got it back together. So, yeah. Did they reestablish themselves and right the ship and start getting this thing going in 2024 back to what we want? Yes, they did. Well done. Now I'm excited for 2025 too because they've got some stuff coming in 2025. So let's hope that ship stays where it's going. But yeah, I was happy to see them actually get back to being Marvel.
Most definitely. And I think they finally, came out with their clear path and vision, what they're going to do with the next Avengers.
Without doubt, yeah.
Films. And a lot of people, I'm surprised you didn't bring this one up, RDJ coming back as
Dr.
Doom.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. So that's definitely pushing a lot of the fanfare back in their direction. So
Without
that's
doubt.
always good to see. The next one, I don't necessarily know if it's right or wrong. So, I mean, both of ours that I feel like we've gotten wrong, we have a little bit of argument against, right?
Yeah.
So my next one was social media downfall. I don't think social media had any sort of downfall this year besides TikTok, because we all know if January 18th comes and they haven't made a decision, the United States government and Supreme Court, TikTok's going to be gone. So other than TikTok, everything else has been doing pretty well. A lot of films and television shows have really pushed a lot of their marketing energy into social media trailers, social media interactions, trends. We saw that with Megan a couple years ago, and I'm sure because Megan 2.0 comes out, I believe this year.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be another social media trend with that. So social media downfall, but like I said, TikTok, which is one of the biggest platforms, especially for the younger audience, might go away. I mean, you could consider that a downfall, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that one was interesting to say the least. I don't think social media is going away anytime soon, but it's definitely not been as important to everybody as we've seen in the past. So it's very interesting. But yeah, it's social media. where are you on?
Yeah, totally agree. I think that, it's changed a bit in how it's used, how it's been purposed, I think. So you were right and wrong, right? It has kind of seen itself step back a little bit. Is that a downfall? I don't know. But it's definitely stepped back a little bit and kind of changed the purpose of what people are using it for or not using it for. And yeah, I'm right there with you. On the day of this recording, I saw that the Supreme Court was not inclined to. They haven't made a decision. They're taking it, obviously. They have up until the 8th. But not inclined to change the law that would ban TikTok after the 18th. Because that's what everybody's... They're trying to get the Supreme Court to abolish that law so that it doesn't get banned. But they didn't seem too cool about wanting to do that. They don't seem like they want to get involved in it, so we'll see. But Mr. Wonderful is gonna buy it if it's available, so we'll see. Shark Tank Mr. Wonderful, y'all. My next one, if you guys don't remember, because man, there's been so much talk with Warner Brothers and Paramount and all this kind of stuff in 2024, right? But at the very end of 2023, going into 2024, the big, huge talk, these two studios, Paramount and Warner Brothers, were in talks. They were in negotiations for Warner Brothers and Paramount to merge. It looked like the golden deal. All they were worried about is whether the government would sign off on it. Looked like it was going to be a win-win for everybody. Warner Brothers would basically absorb all of Paramount's library into them, and Zaslav and everybody seemed to be on board with it. And I was firm. I was firm in saying, absolutely not. This will never happen. This won't see the light of day. These two studios and these two studio heads, Sherry Redstone and Zaslav, will never make that. They're like oil and water, never going to happen. And of course, as we know, it did not. It failed to see anything. It was quickly over by the time 2024 started. They went in separate directions. And as you guys know, Paramount was bought by David Ellison's Skydance, and Zaslav, well, there's still some stuff with Warner Brothers. We're going to talk about that for 2025. But as predicted, though, I mean, anybody with rational sense kind of knew no way in hell that merger was ever going to happen. And as predicted, it did not.
There it is, man. There it is. So my third one, like I said, I've only had 3 on there. So there was more story-driven movies, in which we've seen more story-driven movies get greenlit, but specifically story-driven movies that came out in 2024.
Yes.
I would argue and say more story-driven movies came out in 2024 rather than box office successes.
Oh, without doubt.
Because a lot of box office successes in 2024 are sequels. So it was very interesting, or already established IP like Wicked. So it was very interesting to see with this award season that we're currently in. The Golden Globes started last week, so we're full-fledged trying to watch all the films, but you have Emilia Perez for Netflix, Anora, you had A Complete Unknown, so many different films that are very story-driven films, either about someone's life or a certain situation that happened in a certain decade. Sing Sing, Nickel Boys, there's so many different examples of these story-driven films, but it also goes into the prediction I made when we announced the Oscars, or when we announced Conan O'Brien as the Oscars host,
right,
it being them losing viewership for the Oscars because of story-driven films, which I definitely think is still going to happen because these aren't as mass. Oh yeah, for sure, without a doubt, these aren't as big of movies. This is not Barbie and Oppenheimer. These are not like blockbuster films that also tell a story. So I do think that it's going to be a downfall for this year, but hopefully for next year when Oscars come around, it will be much better because of 2025. There's a lot of great films coming out, so it's going to be very fun. But yeah, more story-driven films, and we've seen it as appointed to, like I said, this award season. It's all films that a lot of people, if you're not filmmakers like us, if you're layman's people, you have not heard of a lot of these films.
Yeah,
so
facts.
That's why that went on my list.
Interesting. So I'm gonna hold you to this one because and rightfully so. I think your mindset in thinking towards this is correct. I'm talking about your prediction for the ratings of the Oscars going down, because the Golden Globes went up. It was the highest viewership that they had seen in the last several years, and was up from the previous year. And they were those story-driven films, Amelia Perez and a complete. So will the Oscars follow suit with that, with Conan, or not? I'm curious to see that. So I was shocked, though. I was much like you, in the same mind of thinking. I was shocked when I saw the ratings numbers for the Golden Globes. I was like, it did? It truly caught me off guard. I'm like, okay, I love it. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But yeah, I was kind of shocked by it. Not shocked by my next prediction for 2024. And a lot of people I know thought maybe I was going to get this one wrong. Thought maybe this might finally be it. And it didn't happen, and it did happen. What do I mean? Because it's a two-prong here. If you remember, during the strikes, Iger made a misstatement that kind of pissed off all of everybody. The studios, the actors, the layman people, the viewers, the fans, everybody. Just was not a good statement, kind of pissed everybody off. And I predicted, first half of my prediction here is that he would mend that relationship with the creators and the fans and the business executives and be the Iger that we knew he was and get back on track with that. He absolutely did that. He's in favor again. He's rocking and rolling with his term right now as CEO. Creators are flooding to him again. You saw the success. Disney reclaimed the box office crown in 2024 and saw massive success. He did that. My other thing is that everybody was saying this was finally it. Peltz was finally going to get, Nelson Peltz was finally going to get the revenge for Ike Perlmutter from Marvel and finally get on the board and finally get rid of Iger. He had been trying and failing, and this was going to be it. And I said, absolutely not. Iger will stave it off. He will get the votes he needs, and Peltz will ride off into the sunset and give up. And I predicted he would stop trying, and that's exactly what happened. Not only did he lose, not only did Iger maintain the votes, stave him off, but he did indeed say he's had enough and rode off into the sunset with Ike, his good old Marvel buddy. So there you go. And thankfully, because that was the right move by the shareholders. It was what Disney needed to reestablish its footing going into 2025 with Iger's next successor. I can only imagine the chaos it would have been if Nelson Peltz had gotten on the board with Ike and then gotten rid of Iger and the whole chaos that would have caused with some sort of a successor to him, right? That would have been a disaster. So thankfully, we were right with the prediction. Everything worked out. Boom. Good to go.
Boom, man. Boom, boom, boom. Hopefully he stays away this time. Now, for my fourth and final one, I had more live streaming events on, obviously, streamers, especially Netflix. Netflix obviously led the ball with everybody.
Yeah.
And when it came to live streaming events, they had the Tyson and Paul fight. They had the Christmas Day games. They signed a overall deal with the WWE for Monday Night Raw, which went over very well. And they're very excited in that direction that they're going to take that, because you had guests that came out, like obviously old historic, like legends, like The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, John Cena came back. He's on his final farewell tour. But then you had people of the entertainment industry. Seth Green was there. Kieran Culkin was there. Travis Scott was there. So many different people. Vanessa Hudgens, like, they were at that event because Netflix freaking made sure that there was some industry news at that event, or industry people at that event. And I think that's going to keep happening, because if you guys don't know, the Raw is going to be at one specific location out in Los Angeles. So they're going to be able to bring a whole bunch of celebrities out there to continue to publicize, to continue to promote Monday Night Raw, and I think that's just going to keep happening. Now, it would be interesting to see how that carries into 2025, because I don't think Netflix really has made any clear implications on their plans for future live streaming events.
Beyond Raw.
Beyond Raw. I'm sure they're going to continue to outsource and reach out to different organizations. I know they were talking about tennis, golf, like all these different wide ranges of sports. But in 2024, they definitely put their money where their mouth is and did a lot of live streaming sports events on Netflix specifically. So I love to see it. I love to see it. Other than the crash of the Tyson and Paul fight. Other than that, everything else ran smoothly.
Right. And this is not on my 2025 prediction list, but I'll throw it in there in correlation with yours. If they do move forward with a lot of those deals, if they do want to continue to pursue this stuff, signing those deals, as we saw with the big fight between Warner Brothers and the NBA and all these, it's expensive. So there's a lot of rumors floating around that Netflix will finally cave in and do what they said that they would never do, and that's start throwing in ads more than just a little bit here or there. We're talking massive ad spots to pay for revenue, to generate, to pay for those live events. I think we will see that, because if you're going to go after big things like that, you're going to need money. And that money is generated by selling ad space or sponsorship. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm right there with you. I watched the NFL games and I enjoyed them. They did rebound really nicely from the Tyson fight. The NFL games came across really well. Now, I'm wondering if they're going to hire their own people, because they basically just cherry-picked CBS and Fox's people. Greg Olson and, they did the commentating. So are you going to go with your own team, or are you going to continue to just cherry-pick from the other, networks? I don't know. But, yeah, that'd be interesting.
It is, man.
Speaking of profitability, right? As you guys know, when all the other studios, aside from Netflix, because Netflix was already doing it, decided to launch their streamers, they were ill prepared, didn't realize the infrastructure and what it would take to run these things. And they all quickly realized, oh crap, we're going to be in debt for decades before we ever see a profit, because this is really expensive to try to maintain and do. And a lot of them were struggling. There's a couple that are still in debt. But at the beginning of 2024, I predicted that Disney, because they seemed to be on pace, just from numbers that we were getting and seeing, to reach profitability prior to what they had projected. They seemed to be on a path quicker. And I said I agreed with that. I thought that would indeed happen. I thought that Disney Plus would become profitable before the end of 2024 and way quicker, 4 years sooner than what they had anticipated. And this one was a squeaker, y'all, because Disney Plus became profitable. If you remember, just a couple weeks ago, they announced at the very end of the fourth quarter, they crossed the threshold, became profitable. They had they cleared a $70 or $80 million profit based compared to the year before, where it was a $487 million loss. So boom. But it took all of 2024. I was sweating that one. I'm like, but right at the end, they boom, profitable. So, and now, of course, moving forward, I think obviously Hulu, Disney Plus, all the mergers, and now they're getting ready to buy another one to try to stave off with the sporting stuff and everything. They're going to stay profitable. I think that they finally have figured it out, and so that's a good one. And I had a fifth one that I totally missed on. But I'm convinced this is going to happen. I said that a major scandal for a studio would happen. I was not talking about Sony with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. I can't really say that's a studio scandal. I was predicting that a certain studio and a certain CEO of that certain studio would have a scandal, because it would come out that he was just not a really nice person and was involved in a lot of shady shit. Kind of like a Weinstein. It did not happen, and I was pretty adamant, and if you want to know who I'm talking about, go back and listen. I'm still convinced that this will happen. I am. I'm not putting it for 2025. Maybe it's down the line. Maybe Ellison gets in there. Oh, I said Ellison. So now you know it's Paramount. But maybe he gets in there and realizes it and exposes it. I don't know, but I'm still confident that is going to happen. There it is. But I was wrong. Big red X. Wrong. But I'm holding. It's going to happen.
Well, that was the thing. It's like you had, because major scandal for a studio. If you just had major scandal in the entertainment industry,
I would have nailed it. Yeah.
You would have been there. You would have been there. But it's okay. It's fine. Lessons for next year.
That's right. I'm going out on a limb again for 2025, like you said at the top of 2024. I'm taking some leaps, but you know.
Right? I mean, that would be absolutely crazy if it did happen because, yeah, it's very interesting, especially with the sale and the merger and all of the things. Yeah, because they got a whole new regime coming in if it gets freaking passed by the government. But, yeah, I'm excited, though. I'm excited to see what Paramount and CBS are able to do because, like, I really like Skydance and I really like David Ellison. So I
do too. And one of my predictions for 2025, and we'll jump into it here for a minute, though. I'm a little nervous about one of the moves that I think he's going to make, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm just saying, right before we jump into 2025, said person was really tight with, and might still be with other said person that was exposed. I'm just saying, you can't be like that intertwined for that long and involved with each other's stuff and not have known about it, not have been a part of it, not just saying. Just saying.
Just saying. Just saying. Well, the time has come now. 2025. What's going to happen? What do we think is going to freaking blow up in the entertainment industry for this upcoming year? Man, oh man. There's a lot. There's a lot to think about because there's so many different things. I mean, my first one that I really think might happen and probably will happen because everybody who is affiliated with this person, more big names coming out in the Diddy trial. Like, I mean, we've already had the example of Jay-Z being accused of raping the underage girl back in 2000. I think Jay-Z is just I think he's just the beginning. I think there's going to be so many more people coming out.
Yes.
Because we've seen, like, I like them as people and I love their content, but I mean, we know that Ashton Kutcher and Emilio Cunes were really close to Diddy. They would go to a lot of parties, and they're already affiliated and got backlash over the Danny Masterson stuff. So that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
But they're staying quiet right now. You know, they're trying to maintain their careers to make sure they're still able to work. But yeah, I definitely think more big names like that, like an Ellen. Ellen was really tight with Diddy. So many people who, I guess, came out around the Me Too movement that were bad people, that people who knew about things and didn't disclose things. I think that's going to definitely happen in 2025.
I would agree with you. And I think some of them are going to be shocking to people. I think some of them are going to be like breaking hearts, going, no way, that can't possibly, but I think so. I think so. And that when that trial starts, it's going to get real interesting real fast. And I'm right there with you. I think that's a green check mark waiting to happen. I agree with you. Let me just play. I'm just gonna start off with a big stretch on mine right from the get-go. It's long been rumored that David Zaslav just does not want Warner Brothers Pictures. He bought Warner Brothers to merge to get the streaming. He wanted a streamer, and he wanted to expand Discovery and get his content out there. And it's long been rumored that he's just not a fan of Warner Brothers Pictures. You saw how awful he runs it, is shelving movies, pissing off creators, losing, people. So I'm predicting. Now, I think this is the best move for him to be profitable. And we all know David Zaslav likes profit. So there's rumors that he wants to sell off and have it just break it off, and whoever buys it, sell off the content. The library goes a little bit here, a little bit there, whatever, and basically Warner Brothers Pictures fails to exist anymore after 100 plus years. Gone. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm predicting that David Zaslav will spin off Warner Brothers Pictures into a standalone company to which they would still own, but it would be a standalone company. If you're not familiar with how corporations work and how all that is, I don't want to go way into detail on that, but look up what it means when a company spins off something that they own into a separate entity. I think this is the move that Zaslav will make in 2024. And we all know that Lionsgate has been searching for an owner. They have been trying to sell Lionsgate forever. And I'm predicting Lionsgate will finally find a buyer, and that buyer will be Warner Brothers Pictures once it is spun off into a separate entity, and that Lionsgate library will merge with the Warner Brothers Picture library and be kick-ass, and you'll see a slight resurgence of Warner Brothers Pictures away from Discovery. It'll be like a studio again, not this wrapped up. I mean, for God's sake, guys, he just said that he was going to promote Warner Brothers movies, including Superman, during the Puppy Bowl. Everybody loves puppies. That's awesome. It usually gets huge ratings, but is that the place to promote your summer blockbuster movie? I'm not so sure. So they need that separation between his Discovery and Warner Brothers Pictures, and I think that's going to happen. Zaslav will spin off Warner Brothers into a separate entity, and they will acquire Lionsgate. Boom! There it is.
Boom! Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll see. We're correlated, but in different realms. I'm Saturn, and you're Uranus. So the next one I have with 2025, I definitely think the box office is coming back, and I think it's going to be the biggest box office in the past decade. I think, with all of these movies that we have coming out, I mean, you're talking Avatar, you're talking Wicked Part 2, you're talking Jurassic World Rebirth, you're talking all the Marvel movies that are coming out. You got Superman, you got all of these different things. I definitely think that this is going to be the biggest box office in the last decade. So I'm very excited about that. Like I said at the very beginning of the show, I think, this year is going to help the entertainment industry get back to where it once was, and to where we can start having money flowing again, having studios that aren't afraid to take chances because they don't have money. And so, which means less sequels, more original ideas. And I think this year is the way to do that, because there's so much beloved IP coming out this year. I think it's really going to help at least start to get us back into the black instead of the red.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly, and it will play into my next prediction as well, but I'm right there with you. Disney, since Iger's return, did recapture the box office crown, and they had a big year. They cracked several $1 billion at the box office in 2024. You just named, look, Avatar's a Disney movie. All the Marvel movies are Disney movies. Disney's got its own supposed blockbusters that they're hoping are going to hit. I think Disney is going to have a massive year in 2025. I'm right there with you. And I think, and playing into this, it will be the perfect way to send Iger out on his swan song. It'll be going out on top, because here it is. I do think Iger will walk away when he is supposed to walk away at the end of 2025. And I am going on. Here's my prediction. I do predict that Dana Walden will officially be named Bob Iger's successor at some point early this year. She will begin going under his wing and start training to properly take over. The succession will be the right way this time. And she will become the first female CEO in Disney's 100-plus year history. About damn time. I think she is the right person to do it. I think she's going to be brilliant in the role. I think Iger taking her under and kind of guiding her until his exit is the right strategy. And yeah, I think Disney's going to have a massive year both with their streamer and the box office, and I think that succession plan is gonna just boom. And I think we'll see Iger finally ride off into the sunset, write his second book, and say, see you later. So there it is. Dana Walden will officially be named the next CEO of Disney.
Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. It would be absolutely historic and iconic if that were to happen.
Oh,
I
without
would
doubt.
love to see that. Something else that I would love to see is the movie theaters experimenting with their experiences. I definitely feel like the movie theaters have had a rough couple of years, obviously, being shut down for the pandemic and not really having big blockbusters to compete against each other for the past couple years. It wasn't honestly until 2024 to where we had like two big movies opening in the same weekend.
Right.
So, I mean, we finally got back to that. But I do think that movie theater chains are going to try to make it more of an experience. And what I mean by that is having more extracurricular activities that lead up to the movies. Obviously, the dinner and a movie thing have always been a niche concept that some movie theaters do and some movie theaters don't. But I think we're going to start seeing more of that, more experiences, more alcohol. I mean, as we see now, like my local theater, freaking, they sell wine, they sell daiquiris,
Yeah.
they sell all kinds of stuff. But I would honestly love to see the resurgence of the arcade room because there's still arcade rooms in the Cineplexes, but I think, bringing the kids back to see that and play while they're waiting for their film, I think that would be awesome. I think it'd be really cool to see the movie theaters on opening night, not Thursday, have it be Friday because you have to start it off on the weekend. Have like their own little red carpet experience. I think that would be so cool where they could just, come, pay like $5, get on the red carpet with maybe like a backdrop of the movie they're gonna go see, the big movie that's opening the weekend, get their picture in front and, just have a little extra something rather than just paying that amount to go see the film and then go home. Have it be more of an experience. Have them actually hang out there a little bit before going into the movie theater. They're trying out these different experiments in different cineplexes around the country. So I would like to see more of that. I think we will see more of that. And I mean, studios have their own little pop-up things like Netflix. They have their own little pop-up world of experience like Stranger Things and Bridgerton and all of these different iconic IPs that they've established throughout the years. So I think more cineplexes are going to have to work with studios to get this to happen, but I would love to see that happen. More of a movie theater experience rather than just going to a movie and going home.
Yeah, I think that if you're gonna keep cineplexes, if you're gonna keep the multiplexes with all the screens and all the things, I think it has to happen. And here's why. Because it falls into my prediction, my next prediction. And that's because you're going to need a reason other than the movie to go to the movie theater. Why am I saying that? Because I predict that the theatrical windows for films will continue to decrease beyond what they already have. And as you guys know, it is getting crazy bad. If you blink, you miss a movie at the theater, okay? For example, right now, Wicked, which is one of the highest grossing films still at the box office. It's like back and forth as number one, number two in the box office every week, right? Since it's been released, is available to stream at home. But it's still in the box office. And it's not on its last leg at the box office. It hasn't been out for like 3 or 4 months and people are still trailing to see it. So it's still dominating the box office, but you can stay at home and watch it. So the windows just keep shrinking. I mean, it used to be a year, then it was like 6 months, and then this whole streaming thing started and it became 60 days, and then it was 45 days, and now literally it feels like they come out for their opening weekend and with the next weekend they're available on a streamer and to rent or buy, and it's like, what are we doing, guys? Why are we even still putting them in and then you see the executives come out and say, well, it underperformed at the box office. Well, no shit, because you had it at home to stream. Like, of course it underperformed. So it plays into what you said. If you're not going to give people an experience to go see it at the box office, they're going to stay home and watch it. So I think it plays right into what you said. Have something else be a part of what they do to go see that movie. It's something to entice them to see it as opposed to just sitting home. But I do think it is my sincerest prediction that the theatrical window will continue to decrease. And you're likely because they've already done this the past couple of years with certain movies, I think you're going to see same-day releases. You're going to see it release on streamer and in the box office on the same day. And in my opinion, I think that's a huge mistake. But I think that's where we're headed, and so that's my prediction.
There it is, man. There it is. Well, like you, I mean, we both pay attention to the entertainment industry, obviously. So, like you, I do think Lionsgate is going to find a buyer this year. I don't know who, but what I would really like to see, because Skydance really opened up my eyes and the possibility of like these smaller companies coming in and being able to buy this. So I would really like to see A24 buy Lionsgate or merge with Lionsgate, because you have the new, talked about, completely out there, completely different than anything else, A24 merging or buying up the classic beloved content that everybody knows, everybody loves. And I just think these two together would definitely be, it would be past and future, and or past and present, and then together they could possibly make the future. I think it would be very interesting to see. My official prediction is Lionsgate finds a buyer. That's my official prediction.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I would love for it to be A24 or like Neon, or, you know, one of these smaller production houses that are making a name for themselves in the entertainment industry. They're the type of films that you cannot ignore. You can't, because they're being shown anywhere and everywhere, and people are talking about them. They're generating buzz, and they don't have the freaking mass studios behind them. They don't have the huge budget of marketing behind them like some of these other films do. So I would love to see that happen. So yeah, my fourth prediction, just Lionsgate selling, hashtag, comma, semicolon, whatever you want to say, hopefully to A24. But
It's
yeah.
an interesting theory because, you know, it's a studio and it's a mini. You know, it's not a major, it's a mini, but it is a studio. So the idea of merging with a production company
Yeah.
is very, you know, and not being acquired by another studio, but a production company and a studio merging is an interesting concept. I think that's. There's several that I think would be a good fit if that is the route that happens. Obviously, with my other prediction, I agree with you. I do think Lionsgate will sell. They will find a buyer. I think it's going to be Warner Brothers, but I don't know. But I like the idea. That's an interesting concept. You know who would be interesting? I'm just going to put this out there. An interesting buyer for Lionsgate would be Municipal.
Yeah.
Because Mark Wahlberg has said it from day one. His goal was to make movies, start to produce movies, have a production company, become a studio, a full-fledged studio, and then produce other people's movies. And if he were to merge and or acquire Lionsgate, now he's got the studio. So that would be interesting. And I feel like he's a good fit because Lionsgate puts out the John Wick movies. They have a lot of like action-oriented, those type movies. Mm-hmm. Municipal, Mark Wahlberg, that just seems like a no-brainer, right?
Right.
And he's trying to establish the industry in Vegas. So, boom. I like it, bro. I like the idea. We have no idea, obviously. We just both agree that Lionsgate will sell. They'll find a buyer. But, yeah, interesting thoughts on that one. That's good. I think, okay, my number 4. I think that we started to see this. We started to see this in 2024, maybe a little bit before 2024, but I think we're going to continue to see it on a much broader level. And we started to see it because of dumb fucks like Zaslav just fucking things up. That's really why we started to see it. But I am predicting that we will see more A-list creators become exclusive to studios. We're not going to go back to the golden age where they're contract player and they only make movies, for this studio. But I do think that but when I say exclusive to the studio, that studio will always have the first crack at anything they develop. Obviously, we saw that with Christopher Nolan after Zaslav fucked it up with Warner Brothers. He jumped over to Universal. We saw Jordan Peele, with Universal. Speaking of John Wick, we saw Chad Stileski, or I think that's how you say his name, Stileski, the creator of the John Wicks, sign the exclusive deal at Lionsgate. And then in 2025, we've already seen one of these moves where Ryan Reynolds just signed an exclusive deal with Paramount. So to become...
And Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell, yep. And of course, Margot Robbie last year towards the back end with Warner Brothers. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think that these big A-list creators with their production companies are going to go, which studio and or studio head do I feel most comfortable with, where I'll get the most leeway, and that's where I'm going to park my banner, and that's where I'm going to create my stuff. I think we're going to see a big resurgence of that, and we're going to see a lot of it happen in 2025. So keep your eyes out, because I think every couple months on this very podcast, we're going to be announcing such and such signed an exclusive deal with such and such. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, completely agree, man. It's going to be very freaking interesting. And then my fifth and final one, I mean, it was the top of yours, but I wanted to make it my last one, and it is Warner Brothers sales or merges begin to happen. Towards the end of the year, Warner Brothers did go up a teeny tiny little bit. Tom and Jerry teeny tiny little bit in stock prices, but it's still very vulnerable for a hostile takeover. And I'm honestly surprised it hasn't happened yet, because like it's right there. It's right there for the taking, but it just, like I said, hasn't happened. But yeah, I do think because they got to make something happen, okay? I think they're putting all their eggs, all their chips on black with DC Studios. They're hoping that can freaking right the ship, but I don't think it has enough girth to do that, because Warner Brothers, being the historic studio, like, they have so many different IP and so many different content that they could be putting out there, but I think they're relying so heavily on DC Studios to do that, and I don't think that's the right way. If you look over at their counterpart, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney projects, Pixar, like, they have so many things coming out, 20th Century Fox, like, Warner Brothers does not have the right leadership, and I don't think that's going to help it go anywhere for the foreseeable future unless sales or mergers will happen. I'm hoping, and my prediction is, a merger or sale that eliminates Zaslav. Complete, like, where he doesn't have control. That's what I am hoping. That's what I'm predicting. Hopefully, man, because we like Warner Brothers. Even though, obviously, we're Disney guys. We love classic Hollywood. We love the story behind the Warner Brothers. So I want to see it succeed. I don't want it torn apart and ripped to shreds like MGM. I want it to succeed. So hopefully in 2025, a sale or merger happens to where Zaslav can be pushed out. So,
yeah, no, I totally, obviously, like with my own prediction, I think that's true. The thing that I think is that Zaslav is a money guy. But I think at some point somebody's finally going to make him realize he's not a movie guy, which is why I said I think spin-off more than sale, because he can step away from Warner Brothers Pictures but still collect the profit if whoever does take Warner Brothers Pictures turns it back to what we expect Warner Brothers Pictures to be. And I think he's too vain to walk away from the potential profit of Warner Brothers Pictures. But he's clearly not the guy that should be running anything to do with Warner. And I'll just say, like what you just said, they make this announcement basically that they're putting all the money, all the eggs in the basket of DC, and then they make questionable decisions. Penguin was the most popular thing that came out of DC this year, rocking and rolling, the Golden Globe nominations, and just it's likely to win Emmys, and it's just killing it. And then instead of powering through with that world and continuing on, they delay Matt Reeves' Batman 2. They say it's not going to happen when they don't continue with another series from that world. It's just, you say that's your emphasis, but then you make questionable decisions with that content. And that's why I'm worried about it. It's like, I'm with you. I don't think Zaslav should be anywhere near Warner Brothers Pictures or anything that Warner Brothers Pictures owns. So just like...
I think we can both agree that Penguin was the sleeper of the year.
Oh,
we knew
without
it was
doubt.
be good,
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was going to have a mass audience like it did.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely won the sleeper of 2024.
Agreed, wholeheartedly. And which normal people would see that and go, let's capitalize. But apparently Zaslav's asleep at the wheel, and James Gunn agreed with him, which I'm shocked by. But I think James Gunn's ego, unfortunately, is getting in the way, and he's like focused on his Superman and his Supergirl and his...
It'll be interesting to see, like, how he is just after the first release of, Superman. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's just, I don't know. All right, my final prediction, my number 5. Because I kind of teased this. I love Ellison. I'm with you. I love Skydance. I think this was the right buyer for Paramount. He loves Paramount Pictures. He's going to maintain Paramount Pictures. He's going to restore that studio to its glory from back in the day. I wholeheartedly believe that. He is not a fan of Paramount Plus. He doesn't think it's worth it. It is one of the streamers that is still not profitable and is struggling to find the profit. And he's not a fan. He's made that clear. I think this is what's going to happen. I think that Paramount Plus will be shut down by David Ellison, and that content will fold either back into CBS, which could be potentially dangerous because there's some massive shows that are really popular on Paramount Plus. But as you know, when you get onto a network, if you don't have the ratings right away, you probably don't survive, which could be dangerous for these hit shows. Although they are seeing some success with like showing Yellowstone and Landman and stuff on CBS. And maybe this is a teaser. Maybe it's a prep of, can we roll these things over to CBS and be okay? But I do think that's going to happen. Or more likely, instead of rolling all of it to CBS, the really profitable shows and the really popular shows will be licensed to other streamers. You'll probably see anything Taylor Sheridan licensed to like Netflix or, much like Sony does, right? Because Sony doesn't have a streamer. So let's do all of our content there. I do think this is going to happen, though. I don't think that there's an argument that Ellison would take to save Plus. I just think he's not on board. So he's all about money and obviously restructuring and making it the studio profitable. And he just doesn't see a path with Paramount Plus. So there you go. I think we will see the end of Paramount Plus, which I'm devastated by because I love damn near every show on there. But I'm not worried because I'm confident on the back half of that prediction I will see those shows end up somewhere else. So you can't tell me they're going to get rid of all of Taylor Sheridan's shit. That's like pop culture royalty at this point. Everybody watches all that stuff. So it will end up on another streamer, and Paramount will make money by licensing it to other streamers. So it's just makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of hope they do because the licensing game kind of has taken a step back and is on the back burner for a lot of these studios when it comes to television and movies, to be fact. So I just feel like studios need to take advantage of licensing more than they already do.
For sure.
And I think it will help their budgets. It will help their bottom line a lot more. So yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting. I think we should start every episode, not every episode, but every first episode back of the new year like this with a box office draft and our predictions, because it sets the tone of what's going to happen in the entertainment industry when we talk about certain events that are happening on the trades. So it's going to be very freaking exciting, man. And I cannot wait to see what happens this year because there's a lot to unfold.
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Okay. So let's set establish some rules for the draft. Are we going into this like the NFL draft? Are we going to start with our number 1 overall pick, the bad boy, the one we think is going to be the killer, and then go our second round pick, our third round pick, kind of a thing? You want to do it that way?
I want to do it that way.
All right, fantastic.
And my question that I have to you to counter that, do we want to do just opening weekend or do we want to do overall by the end of the year?
I think overall, because I think it should be like an accumulation of, did these 5 movies make the most money throughout the entire year. And
Right.
yeah, so because like when you draft an NFL player, it's full season. It's not like did he come right out of the gate and win 2 games and then fall on his face. So we want the whole year. How did these movies perform? And then we'll kind of see.
I gotcha. And to let everybody know at home, we don't know each other's picks. We have alternates. We have a list. Man, oh man, we're super excited about it. Now the question is, who goes first? I think we should Rochambeau for it. I think we should do a nice quick one, rock, paper, scissors. All bets are nothing. Everything's on the table.
All right, you ready?
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. That's how we're going to do it. All right.
Ready?
Rock, paper,
scissors.
The delay, man.
All right,
delay.
that's okay.
All right,
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, one more. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
What do you? What the?
What is going on? All right, ready. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. What the hell? All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes, rock beat scissors. There we go. All right. We may or may not spend a little too much time together.
Right, exactly. You got the first pick of the 2025 box office.
Yes. All right. So my first pick, and I believe this to be a good first pick, my first round pick overall, number 1 in the draft, the granddaddy of them all, superheroes, the one that they all aspire to be. All the Marvel movies, all the DC movies, this is the one they're always chasing, so this only makes sense. My number 1 overall pick is Superman. I do think Superman will make a boatload of money at the box office just because of the interest in how is it going to be different. I think that the Snyder fans will show up just to bash it. I think that the Christopher Reeve fans will show up to see if it holds up to the legacy. And then I think the new generation fans, the Gunn fans, the Marvel fans will show up to support it. So I think between that, you're going to see hefty box office numbers. I think that people will overall end up liking this movie. I think there's a lot of back and forth between the Snyderverse and it's not old school Christopher Reeve, blah, 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 blah. I see all the arguments. But I do think because of James Gunn's passion for the character, the relationship between him and his dad and how this character played a role with their relationship and his approach to it, I have strong feelings this movie is going to be really, really good. And word of mouth is going to propel this thing to massive numbers at the box office. I think it'll be iffy going in, but I think word of mouth, people will continue to go see it. So there it is, my number 1 overall pick, Superman.
Wow. You're putting a lot out there.
I'm confident, man. I'm confident.
I feel like your connection with the character might astray you a little bit. It's okay. It's fine, but I don't know, man. I don't know about
will it be the biggest box office movie of the year? I don't know, but I do think it will cross the $1 billion mark and do really well at the box office. I do think, right, because that's the benchmark now for these blockbusters, right? Does it break $1 billion worldwide?
Yeah, for sure.
I do think it breaks $1 billion worldwide. Now, is it the biggest of the year? I don't know. Is it the biggest of all time or one of the biggest of all? I do not know. I'm just confident in it will break the $1 billion mark and be a box office success.
Interesting pick.
Well, let's hear your number 1. Come on.
My number 1 pick goes to, and it's kind of along the same lines. It's actually funny that you say that. I go with the new Jurassic World. I think Jurassic World, I think it's Rebirth. I think that's what it's called. I think that's going to be the biggest film of the entire year. People are very interested because this is a whole new generation of actors coming into these roles. Scarlett Johansson's in this thing, leading it. So people are very curious, and they love Scarlett Johansson. She's a big box office draw. So I definitely think that is going to be a big moneymaker at the box office, and the biggest one of the year. I'm putting it out there. The biggest one of the year. And I don't know, man. Even though these movies sometimes are not good, they still perform very well
They do.
at the box office. That last Jurassic World movie with Chris Pine and or Chris Pine, what the fuck?
Chris Pratt.
Pratt. Chris Pratt started with a P. So the last one he did with Bryce Dallas Howard, obviously they brought the legends back from the original franchise. It wasn't a good movie. It wasn't, but it still made a shit ton of money. So I think Jurassic World, the new installment, is going to be the biggest movie of the year.
Wow, that's I agree with you. I think Jurassic World will probably make decent money at the box office. I just, like you said, good or bad, they usually perform well. Bold to say it's going to be the biggest of the year. That's really bold.
That's what we're here for, man. The draft.
Okay. I think I'm bold too, though, because my pick, it's sandwiched with two other blockbusters, right? You got one the week and a half before it, one a week and a half after it, so it's going to have to come gangbangers to make money, right? So, but I think that both of our number one picks are similar in the sense that it will either revive and or likely kill the franchise.
Agreed.
Based on, right, this will either be the end of the Jurassic franchise. People will say, we've had enough, we're done. Same thing with Superman. I think it'll be like, okay, we've seen it, we've heard it, we've tried it, it's over. Let's move on. So we'll see. Yeah, I like it though, man. I like it. Okay, my number two, my second round pick, and I'm just basing this because of the massive success of the first, and you have to see how it finishes. Otherwise, you have to. So I feel really confident about this one. I feel really good. My second round pick, I select Wicked for Good. The sequel to Wicked. I mean, this is a no-brainer. This was a massive hit. It's still a massive hit. Yeah. Even if it's streaming, it's still a massive hit. And this is the type movie, sometimes people will skip a sequel, blah, blah, blah. But this is a continuation of. This isn't really a sequel. It was a break. And now we're picking back up and finishing the story type thing. So, yeah, this is a no-brainer for me. My pick in the number two round, Wicked for Good. I think this matches the success of the first one. Maybe eclipses it. But I think on level with, which means it will be one of the biggest of the year, potentially the biggest of the year, and potentially one of the biggest of all time, just like Wicked is. So there you go. My selection round two, Wicked for Good.
Yeah, I already got to go to my alternates, man. That was my number two pick. Fantastic. I already got to go to my alternates.
All right.
But I'm very confident with this one. This one was already on the list, so we're just going to bump it up one, and that's completely fine. And I'm going with Avatar. The new Avatar that's going to come out. I definitely feel like this franchise, no matter what, is going to keep drawing an audience. They're going to keep making it a theatrical experience every single time. And the technology that keeps coming out it gets better and better. And James Cameron is doing his thing. He's doing what James Cameron does. He's going to go just basically come out of the limelight or come out of the shadows and promote this thing and then go back into the shadows. That's exactly what he does. But yeah, I think Avatar, man, this franchise, it's going to be huge. You know, I can't say that it's going to be the highest grossing franchise of all time because, I mean, Marvel's going to be the highest grossing franchise of all time if it's not already there.
It is.
It's not going to come anywhere close to that because there's only going to be so many of these Avatar films. But every time there's going to be an Avatar film, it's going to be a massive box office success. So my number two, the new Avatar that is coming out in 2025.
Okay. Okay, that's a good pick. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's a good pick and why I'm a little upset that you chose it and it's not on my team. The massive success, and here's a bold 2025 prediction that I'm just going to throw out there and didn't even intend it. The massive success that we've seen Zoe Saldana have this past year, I'm predicting that she's going to win the Oscar, and that will propel Avatar the new Avatar, to massive numbers. She's going to bring not only her fan base that already follow her because of Avatar and are fans, but a whole new audience to Avatar that have recently found her, be it Lioness or Amelia Perez or whatever. I think that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Damn, that's a good pick. Okay. My number 3, this is a no-brainer. I think that this is going to make a lot of money, and I think that it's going to, because it's in my opinion, and this is bold, I think this will be in the same success avenue as Spider-Man No Way Home. I think this is going to reestablish the Captain America brand back to what we expect with Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War, right? I think that people want to see this type of story with Captain America. They don't want to see the over-the-top superhero-y stuff. They want to see the espionage, the shield, the Hydra, the kind of a thing. It's why Civil War and Winter Soldier were so successful. So my pick in the 3rd round, Captain America Brave New World. I do think it is going to reestablish the Captain America franchise and get it back on track to where people wanted it to be the whole time. I think Anthony Mackie will have huge success because people have been rooting for Anthony Mackie as Captain America for quite a bit. Interest in seeing Harrison Ford as Red Hulk will propel people there, just to see that. And then there's the hint behind the cameos that they're talking about and the first on-screen appearance of Leader. As Leader. Not just, we saw him get the little shit drip into his brain, so we knew he was coming, but we're going to see big old head Leader. So, for all those reasons. So, I do think this will continue Marvel's trend of every Marvel movie opening at number 1 at the box office. I don't know if this one will crack $1 billion, but I do think it will do really well, at least $500 million worldwide, reestablish Captain America's profitability moving forward. And yeah, I think this one's going to do really well. It'll continue in the lane of Deadpool and Wolverine, as in reestablishing Marvel's dominance. This will not be one of those $100 million gone in a couple weeks like Captain Marvel was. I think this one's going to be, So Captain America, Brave New World.
Great pick, man. Great pick. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, it's surprising, but I didn't take any superhero movies on my list. I didn't do any superhero movies.
Wow.
So I know. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy.
Wow. Because with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, and you're going to have Daredevil be huge, right? I think you are going to see, because, you're right. Maybe you're right Marvel took a hit. They're not but I think the resurgence of Deadpool and Wolverine and the idea that you might even see one of them pop up in one of these movies, because I think it's going to be a giant resurgence. So it's either a really bold move on your part to not take any of them, or a big mistake on your part. We'll see.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out my 4th pick. I'm on my 3rd, but I'm still trying to figure out my 4th, since you did take Wicked from me. So that, maybe I'll have one.
Sorry. All right.
I don't know. So we'll see. But I do know that my third pick goes to the live action Lilo and Stitch. I think that is going to do bonker numbers, in my opinion. Just because, like, the nostalgia of bringing Lilo and Stitch back, and then, of course, the live CGI Stitch. I think that's going to look absolutely amazing. And then the whole galaxy stuff, I think it's going to do big numbers, to where it might even reinvent the franchise to where they do more live action Lilo and Stitch films, to where they continue on past, I think they only did 2, and for the animated 2 or 3. So, they might even continue past that. So, yes, my number 3 pick in the box office draft is Lilo and Stitch.
Interesting. Look, I'm going to commend you, though. I'm going to commend you on the pick. I think it's a brave pick, because these live action remakes are hit or miss. They either go gangbangers or they're total busts, right? And I'm right there with you. I, too, am going to make a bold pick on a live action remake, and I feel confident that this one will be gangbangers and not a total bust. I'm choosing with my 4th round pick the live action version of How to Train Your Dragon. I feel really confident that this thing is going to make massive numbers because this is a beloved movie. I haven't found a single person who hates that movie or did not like that. And I'm talking adults and kids. Everybody loved that movie. And so the live action version of it, I think it's just going to come out and everybody's going to want to see it, right? Plus, you've got, how are they going to do it, right? Because you have all of this success of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. And so we've seen live action dragons, but come on, how are we going to see this dragon, right? Like, so I think the interest is going to be there. The nostalgia because it is so beloved. I think this thing's going to do gangbusters. I think it's going to come out and it's going to do massive numbers. I'm really excited about this pick. It's a risk, but I feel like it's not going to let me down. How to Train Your Dragon, live action. It's going to bring me some big money. I'm just telling you. I feel it.
I mean, Toothless does look great.
Toothless,
that first trailer, he looks great.
Yeah, and to see how big screen, full expansion he's going to look, right? Yeah. Do we see an evolution of him on screen? Does he stay where he is in this particular? Yeah, I could not be more excited for this one. It's like you said with Stitch, Toothless. Who doesn't like Toothless? Like, come on.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I think I'm going to have to go back on what I just said because I had to redo everything in my life, in my box office draft. But I think my fourth pick, I think I'm going to go with the Fantastic Four.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to go with the Fantastic Four with the same reason that you went with Superman. People want to see what Marvel's adaptation of Fantastic Four is going to look like. I think Pedro is still riding on a high. He's got Last of Us Season 2 coming out this year as well. So I think he's going to have a big, massive year. But I think the Fantastic Four film will do good or even fantastic at the box office. So I'm very excited about that. And then you have Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. He's riding on a high too. Yeah. He was just in Gladiator too. So I'm confident. I'm confident in that pick. If you just didn't take away Wicked, fuck. No, it's fine. I'm confident. I'm confident in that pick.
So,
I'm more confident in Fantastic Four than I am in Thunderbolts. So I would much rather take in Fantastic Four over Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I didn't want to even touch Thunderbolts either. Fantastic Four is going to be because you got Ebon Moss also, who's like the bear, like just massive. Vanessa Kirby's huge. She's an it girl right now. The cast is there. The interest is there, right? Yeah. But that film, it was dangerous for me to want to touch. I think that film, right? You had two rookies come out this past time in the NFL, right? Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. One is rocking and rolling and headed to the playoffs and was just doing amazing things in Washington. The other was crying in a fetal position on the bench and took himself out of the game.
It's fair.
Fantastic Four is either going to be one of those. And look, I hope you get this one right, truthfully, because I want Marvel to get Fantastic Four right. I didn't hate the first couple movies. I thought they were really close to getting it right. The other one with Michael B. Jordan, it's a horrible disaster. But if anybody can do it and get it right, it's Marvel. So I hope this pick works for you. I hope it does because I want to see it work. As a fan of the Fantastic Four and of the franchise comic books, I want to see it finally be successful on screen. There's so much, and you know why I think it might potentially be more of a Jaden than a Caleb for you. Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
I know Galactus is the bad guy. I know that we're going to see Silver Surfer. There's no way we see a Fantastic Four movie without at least a cameo from Dr. Doom, and that will draw audiences in. No doubt about it. So it's probably a really good pick. Okay. Now, the purpose of our fifth round pick, y'all, the purpose of the fifth round pick is to try to derail the money coming in for the opposite person. I feel pretty good about this pick because I feel like Everything seems to work in favor of this film being a massive box office draw. Everything seems to be, this is going to work for Disney. It's going to be a huge hit. It's got the nostalgia. It's got the cast. It's got the interest. It's got everything that you would think would work for a just box office blockbuster hit. But I am boldly predicting that this one is going to fall hard on its face. It's going to creep people out. It's not going to be what people want to bring the kids to. It's going to just like totally go, wait a minute, oops, not work. I am strapping you, my friend, with Disney's live action Snow White. I think it is going to be a box office bomb. I think it is not going to do well. I listen, I love the cast. I myself am too creeped out about the live action dwarves. They just don't look good, man. They look scary. They look like Grimm Brothers Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is going to scare kids. People are going to bring kids to it, and they're going to be like, holy shit, they're going to... I am really predicting this one is not going to do well, and I'm hoping I am right, and it straps you with hurting your total, because I'm thinking 150 million for this bad boy, maybe 200 million, and then it will die quickly. It will die quickly and not have legs at the box office. This will do better on Disney Plus than it does at the box office. That's my prediction.
Interesting, man. Interesting. So I'm going to go with the same theme that you did, where it could be successful, but hopefully it is not. Because, we're obviously trying to throw each other off. But I think for your pick, and it's very interesting, it could bite me in the ass. It could be a very Free Guy situation where if you guys were not watching the videos...
no, I know what you picked. I know what you picked.
If you guys were not watching the podcast or listening to the podcast before, I did not like Free Guy. And then when I finally watched it, I loved it. And it was a major box office success. But for you, brother, I'm going to pick the Minecraft movie.
I knew it. I knew as soon as you said Free Guy. I knew it. And yeah, that's... Oh my God, dude. That's I get where you're coming from, because that's a game adaptation, which have done really gangbusters, but then...
And Jack Black has really helped with the game adaptations, and he's had a nice resurgence, but he has not had that lead role resurgence, though.
No,
He's been a great side supporting character, but he's not had that lead role. And then you have fucking the weird Jason Momoa character. So... that's super weird. So I think this one is also might do well in the first weekend, but then drop off really quickly.
That's a good pick. I hope you're wrong. I hope this just turns into one of those nobody saw it coming huge box office hits, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. This was fun. So to recap what our box office for draft for 2025, my picks were Jurassic World Reboot, the new Avatar, Lilo and Stitch, Fantastic Four, and then Dustin graciously gave me the new Snow White revival, reboot, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yes.
And then for yours were...
I picked Superman, Wicked for Good, Captain America Brave New World, the live action How to Train Your Dragon, and I got stuck with, as Logan said, so graciously picked... the Minecraft movie. This is either going to work really well or really bad. I just, why did I know that was going to be the one you picked for me too? Because you're so in on the adaptations, the game adaptations. And so I just, I
thought about giving you Megan 2.0, but then I remembered that did really well on Peacock afterwards. So I was like, that might be a success. But definitely when you went with a high budget, high risk one, I was like, okay, let me go with my high budget, high risk one.
And, I think I like all these picks in the sense that we bounced around studios. We were fair to all the studios. But I will say, though, and I think you would agree with this, just going kind of like prediction, I do think Disney's going to have a massive... You're talking 3 Marvel movies. You're talking the Avatar movie. You're talking Snow White. They've got a lot coming this year that should potentially just bank them literally billions of dollars. I think it's going to be hard for the other studios to compete with Disney this year. If everything hits the way I think it's going to hit, Disney's going to have a massive year, but we'll see.
Yes, completely agree, man. Completely agree. What movie do you think is going to make the most money at the box office? Please be sure to comment down below and let us know your thoughts and opinions, because there are a lot of good ones coming out, man. We're very excited to see what happens at the box office this year. But transitioning into our top 5, which really, this whole show's been kind of like a top 5 segment, but it's fun. It's fun. It's good stuff. So to transform from predictions of the entertainment industry, from big 2025 blockbusters that we think are going to do huge, we're now going to go to the television side of things, okay? With our official top 5 segment being top 5 new television series that we're most excited for this year. And man, oh man, it was really hard because there was a lot of returning shows for their second or third season that I was really excited about, but I'm like, damn it, we made it this new television shows that we're most excited about for this year. So my 5th one, it goes to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I think this one's going to be very interesting because, I mean, obviously Disney, I think they're going to capitalize on what Sony is doing with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, that whole animation style. I think they're going to bring that into this because if you've seen the trailer, it's very comic book-esque. It's very different from what we've seen before when it comes to the animated side for superhero films. So, and it's going to be a nice, interesting, like, black versus white when it comes to Creature Commandos or the Commandos that's on DC compared to this bright, lovely, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So I'm very curious to see that. But I'm very curious to just see where the story goes. Is it going to be more geared towards kids or to where, adults can watch it too and not be like bored out of their minds? So yeah, my number 5, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Interesting. And I'm curious to see if audiences will gravitate to it once they find out it's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This takes place in an alternate universe and it's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So, how will they be with that? Or, because Tom's pretty popular. So, and they like that Spider-Man, so we'll see. My number 5, and I just, you mentioned him, Glenn Powell. He's like the go-to guy right now, the it guy right now. And this looks hilarious. When I saw Eli Manning do this skit, it was fucking hysterical. When he put on the makeup and pretended to be a walk-on at Penn State and I thought I was showing everybody it. I thought it was one of the funniest things I had seen. And then I hear they're going to make a series out of it. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, if you haven't heard, guys, Glenn Powell has signed on, and they've already shot it, and they've already released some sort of teasers and little trailers for it. Chad Powers. It's going to be an actual series about a guy that's a former athlete that pretends to be a certain person and walks on and tries to get on the team. And both the Manning brothers are executive producers. Their production company is executive producing this show. I'm excited about this. 1, I love football. 2, I love Glenn Powell. I think he's fantastic. The Mannings are hysterical. They have shown time and time again they can do these type spoof things, whether it's when they show up on Saturday Night Live, whether it's when they do their little back and forth with each other on show. They're funny. And I think that this is going to be hilarious. I think this show is going to do gangbangs. I think that, it's going to be huge. So I'm really excited to see this one. Chad Powers, my number 5.
Great pick, man. Yeah, I'm excited for that one too. My number 4 goes to Ironheart on Disney Plus. I think Ironheart's going to be very, very interesting, and we're going to see a lot of different cameos in this. At least I'm hoping. Dominique Thorne, she did absolutely an amazing job in Wakanda Forever as Ironheart Riri Williams. And I'm just super excited to see what she does with the character more because it's been a couple years since we've last seen her character. So it's going to be interesting to see where we pick back up at and what's going to be going on. But I mean, you have like Anthony Ramos, Eldon Ehrenreich, Zoe Tarek Lyric Ross from she was on This Is Us,
Yep.
and so many others. So you have a great cast that can carry a show. Now, if the writing is there, that's what's most important. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm hoping to start to see more of a crossover for Young Avengers characters in Ironheart, to where we can start establishing that a little bit more. So number 4 for me, Ironheart.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm excited about Ironheart too. I mean, I feel like I could have put any Marvel show that's coming this season, I could have put on the list. I think I'm excited, super pumped for all of them. Really excited to kind of see where they go with Ironheart because she was in What If this season. And obviously it's an alternate, what if storyline, so it's not picking up where they left off with. But she nailed it. She plays the character. She understands the character really well. So I'm excited to come back to her and see where she's at and how they're going to do that. I'm right there with you. I love this franchise. The movies were both just phenomenal. The people behind the movies are behind this series, and I think I'm just all in on this, and even more so after I found out how they're going to do it. My number 4 is It, Welcome to Derry. And from what I just found out, they have like a 5-year plan for this. Okay, so they've got 5 seasons planned out, and it's going to regress in time. It's going to start in like the 1960s and then drop to the 19-something and then to the 1930s or what. This idea that they're going to trace this whole thing backwards is very interesting to me on how they're going to do that. And if you guys don't know Derry, the town, in It, I just think this thing is going to be very interesting to see more of the origins of the Pennywise and the characters and like outside of just the characters we're used to, right? This is going to expand this universe and take us into places that, we haven't seen before and that probably will scare the crap out of us. So it's going to be great. Yeah, I'm super excited about this one. And I was nervous at first. When they first announced this one, I'm like, do we need this? But then I started hearing the creative process and the way they were going with the story and what it was intended to be. And I'm pumped for this one. I'm really excited to dive into this. My number 4, It, Welcome to Derry.
Very good, man. Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. It's going to be very interesting to see how they adapt everything. That's
right?
For sure. My number 3 goes back to the Game of Thrones world, back to Westeros, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, where, of course, the Targaryens are still roaming the earth and ruling the earth. Now, this one is a century before the original Game of Thrones series, so it's like in between Last Dragon and our House of the Dragon and the original Game of Thrones. So they're inching their way back and forth. It's very interesting. But I'm curious about this because House of the Dragon, it's popular, but it still gets a lot of mixed reviews. And Game of Thrones was very popular all the way up until the very end where it got the mixed reviews and the bad, all that shit. So I'm curious because, like I said, the Warner Brothers and HBO Max and Max in general, and HBO, they've done amazing things with, the House of the Dragon. So I think they continue to do that with Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. So I'm super excited about it. So number 3 for me, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I think all the haters should just go find some place to go. Right. I mean, I understand that it's you already know what happens. So so that makes it hard to tell a story when you already know what happens, right? So House of the Dragon, we know where it eventually goes to Game of Thrones. But that doesn't mean you have to hate on it or that you make it confusing or that you don't understand it or blah, 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 blah. Just enjoy it. Enjoy how it gets to where it goes, even though you already know where it goes. Who cares, man? And I think that's where most of the hate was coming from. So I'm like, whatever, man. People move on. My number 3, I'm only have this on my list out of pure curiosity, obviously because of stuff that we're working on. The Studio. This is Seth Rogen's new show about he's a film executive that's trying to become the head of a studio, and he's not happy with the way that things are, social media, and it's a comedy. Looks like it could potentially be a dramedy, but more so comedy than drama, but definitely looks like it could be a dramedy. I'm just really curious about it. What is his take on it? How does he tell this story? We have a very particular way we tell this story, what we think of this. So it's pure curiosity about why I have this on the list. Will it work with people? Has Seth Rogen kind of run his course too? Because, he's been hit or miss the past few years as well. I'm curious. I like, do people want to see his take on what he thinks is going on in the industry right now? So the first trailer looked interesting. I thought it looked decent. It definitely addresses some stuff that we address and talk about all the time. So it's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, pure curiosity. That's why it's on my list. Pure curiosity. The studio.
It's always fun when there's content about the entertainment industry. We love that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's gonna be cool. It's going to be cool. Number 2 for both of us goes to Suits LA. I mean, come on. This is one of the highly anticipated shows of the year. Of course, we love Stephen Amell and all of the other actors that have been attached to this thing. And, we may or may not have know what the first episode is about. So we're very excited about it. And, industry insiders, man, we have friends everywhere.
That's right.
We're very excited about it, and it's going to be a great show. I think it's going to be a hit, especially capitalizing off of the popularity Suits had a nice resurgence on Netflix. So yeah, man, I'm super excited to see where this thing goes and how many seasons it's going to get.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I would go out and say that this first episode, the pilot episode, will be explosive. Wink. Remember I said that when you watch it. And it's funny because you just said, much like this is based in LA, and it centers around, if you guys are ready for it, the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. It's a law firm that represents entertainment people. It obviously has other branches, but the main focus is he is in charge of the entertainment industry side, which is odd because he's a prosecutor out of New York who worked with Harvey. So why he transitions to becoming an entertainment attorney at this firm, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. And tragically, John Amos plays a role in the pilot episode and was set to be a recurring character, but obviously, sadly, passed away this past year. So, but they are leaving him in the pilot. They are doing it as tribute, so that'll be nice. But yeah, I was kind of bummed about that because I think the way they were setting up the recurring character with that was going to be really good. It was going to be really good. It was going to kind of be the guy that's constantly nudging Amell's character, like, come on, man, do the right thing. Come on, man, do the right thing. And it looked like it was going to be a really good dynamic that just, sadly, is not going to be able to happen. But, oh well.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Well, number 1 for me goes to Dexter Resurrection.
Yes!
Very excited about this. I'm finally on the last season of the original series. Now I have to catch up on all the miniseries, start the prequel, and then watch this thing. But luckily, it says this one's not coming out until June, so I have a lot of time to completely catch up on everything. But I've been loving Dexter. It's a crazy-ass show. You know how shows, like, they have seasons where they kind of, like, drop off with storylines and stuff? That's only happened twice with, in my opinion, where I'm like, what the fuck are they doing here? Like, this makes no sense. But, they've done very well. They've kept my attention very attached to the show. I thought it was going to be a very dark show, in which it is a dark show, but there's a lot of lighthearted moments as well. And I love Michael C. Hall. I think he's an amazing actor and plays the role perfectly because he's kind of creepy. Let's be honest about it.
He really is, bro. Like,
he's a great actor, though. He's a great actor, and everything he's been through with cancer and coming back from it, it's awesome to see him back in the limelight with his most popular show. And it looks like he's very excited about it, too. So, yeah, number 1 for me, Dexter Resurrection.
Oh, man, great choice. And I'm excited as hell to jump on that one, too. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be really good. The casting that they've got in that as the younger versions of. dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, the prequel they have right now that's airing is crazy.
It's just crazy.
The casting they have in that is absolutely wild. I don't know if they're going to have, like, I mean, they could now. I mean, since it's all under one banner, flashback scenes of the younger version.
They could. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
I think that's the rumor. I'm almost positive that's what I heard. So I think that's going to be really, I don't know, but I would like if they bounce all over the timeline. I think that would be really badass. So we'll see. Mine, this was a no-brainer for me. I have been wanting this back from the second that it went off, and we're finally getting it. My number one is Daredevil Born Again. I mean, come on. That Netflix series was like brilliant from start to finish. That's got to be maybe the best live action adaptation of any comic book since Superman the movie. It was just like spot on. They got everything right, and they were not scared to address it in ways, because Daredevil's a very dark comic book. It's set in Hell's Kitchen. It's violent. It's gritty. It's dark. It's dirty. And they went for it, and they nailed it. Casting was beyond perfect. So when they had this whole battle, Ike, who's gone now with pelts, see you later, jackass, he ruined the whole thing, and they had that whole dispute, and they couldn't get it for a little while, but now that Marvel has it again, and thank God Iger is back so that we can go back to the Netflix storyline and not, this will be a continuation of the Netflix storyline, but in a whole new way, adding on to and keeping it within the Marvel storyline. I'm just excited as hell for this one, man. Like the whole cast is returning, and it's violent, it's dark, it's gritty. Echo kind of gave us a little hint at that. But yeah. And the love that Vincent and Charlie have for these two characters, and then even you can throw in Deborah and Eldon as far as Foggy and Karen go. The passion that they have for these kids, it just shows. It just comes through. This is such a good show, and I think this Born Again version is going to be epic. I cannot wait. And please release it weekly. Don't do it to me. Don't give it to me all at once, because I will watch it all at once, and I don't want that. Please, just weekly. That's all I'm saying.
That's so freaking funny. Well, guys, we want to know, what is the new television series that you're most excited about this year? Even if it's coming back for a season 2 or 3, please be sure to let us know down in the comment sections below. Add us on Twitter, X, Threads, all the good places. Love the fan interaction, man. It's a whole lot of fun.
Always.
Now going over to the box office recap, Mufasa, the Lion King, came in at number 1 with $24 million. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the one we talked about a little bit earlier, came in at number 2 with $21 million. It's still performing very well. It's been out like 3 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for that. Nosferatu came in at number 3 with $13 million. That's honestly more than I thought it would have made.
It's apparently doing really well. It's going to be profitable for them, so
I it's on my list. I want to see that one really bad. I want to watch the original, like the 1930s one first.
It's a trip, bro. It's a trip. Yeah. Have a couple gummies before you watch that one.
Right, exactly. Number 4 at the box office was Moana 2 with $12 million. And then, of course, number 5, still there, even though you can watch it on streaming, is Wicked with $10 million brought in last week. So, killing it, man. Absolutely killing it. And we're starting off the year kind of weak, in my opinion, with the new movies coming out, because The Last Showgirl is coming out, Den of Thieves 2, which is supposed to be the big one of the weekend, Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. Better Man, Black Diamond, and Hard Truths. Honestly, for me, the only one I've even seen any sort of promotion for or know anything about is the second Den of Thieves. So I don't know anything about.
The Last Showgirl's the one that Pamela Anderson is starring in, that from Aaron Sorkin, that she's getting all the recognition at the Golden Globes and Oscars and all that far. So she could potentially take Den of Thieves, knock it to the second spot, because there's interest in now that she was like highlighted for the acting performance. I think there might be some interest for people to go see that, because you're right. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of marketing or push for it, so a lot of people didn't even know about it until the Golden Globes. So we'll see how that does. But yeah, those will definitely be the only two that do anything. I mean, like the other ones, like
completely agree. Survive Till 25, but a little bit longer in 25 because we got to get to like Valentine's Day first. That's Captain America: Brave New World.
Yep.
Movies you can still go see right now: A Complete Unknown, Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. Very, very good film. Please be sure to check that out. Baby Girl, The Fire Inside, Homestead, and in select theaters possibly near you, Craven the Hunter.
Yeah, I can't believe that's still available. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Like,
kind of crazy, man. Kind of crazy. And then, of course, the IMDb Pros top trending segment. The top trending movie is Nosferatu, of course, with everybody talking about it. This came from the director of The Northman, The Lighthouse, and a couple of other crazy out there movies. So it only makes sense that he adapted this one as well. I hated The Lighthouse. I know a
yeah.
lot of people like The Lighthouse. Dustin, I know you did too. Hated it. But I watched The Northman and I didn't mind it. It was out there. It was weird, but
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind it. I liked the cinematography. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, we can continue to build up with Nosferatu. The top trending TV show is Squid Game, of course, with the second season being out now. That's honestly another one that I might jump on this year. A lot of people are talking about it. And I guess there is a dub version where you don't have to watch it in Korean,
Correct.
which is
Yep.
fantastic because I don't like subtitles. That's just me. And Olivia Hussey is the top trending star. What has she been in?
She was Juliet. She recently passed, so that's why she's on the list. Yeah,
I
she
see.
was.
It's always so sad when they're the top trending star when they pass away.
We've all seen her. If you went to high school, you saw her. You know who Olivia is because everybody saw Romeo and Juliet. You had to watch the film, and she's the one that every teenage boy in high school saw naked with the
Interesting.
And she was underage. They were both underage when they were made to be naked on film. There was. Remember, we talked about it. They both tried to sue just recently.
I remember that.
And because they were, but sadly she passed away, and that's. I hate when the number one star is like because they pass away. I get it, but anyway.
Anyway. Thank you, everyone, for getting crazy with us on episode 280 and the first episode back of ITCAF Podcast for 2025.
Yes.
We're super excited to be back, and man, oh man, we've got a whole bunch of fun stuff coming up this year. And, of course, be sure to follow us on social media. This podcast is at ITCAFpodcast on all social media platforms. Our mental health podcast, Everything's Okay, is on all podcasts, are on all social media platforms. Follow us. We have a new episode of that out right now. New year, same you. Be sure to check that one out. Trying new things out on that podcast as well, so do that. And then, of course, you can follow us at Crazy Ant Media, our flagship production company. Be sure to do that. Stay up to date with all of our projects that we have going on and so many different creative things that we have coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And then, of course, us both personally on social media. Myself at JLoganAustin and
At Crazy Ant CEO.
There it is, man. There it is. And you guys know you subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And then, of course, if you're watching this video on YouTube, we appreciate it. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers this year. So let's be sure to do that. Like, share, comment, all the good things. Hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And then, of course, visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got a little bit of something for a little bit of everybody, and right now it is free shipping, so be sure to stay on track of that. We have the new merchandise out right now that I showed you a little bit earlier on the show, so be sure to check that out. Man, oh man, I really enjoyed trying something new. I like the box office recap, bro. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, no, totally. I think this is going to be like, it's going to be very interesting come December, who got it and who didn't and what's going to happen. It's going to be fun. And as always, anytime we do, I think we pride ourselves on being so entrenched in the industry and kind of like the knowing what's going to happen before it happens, because that's how you're successful. You know, when you make a movie, when you own a production company and you're trying to be in film production and you're trying to write TV shows and or movies, it's not about what's popular now. It's about what's going to happen like when it comes out. So you got to stay on top of what's happening in the industry. And I think our 2024 list proved we do that really well. And I think it's going to be interesting. I think our 2025 projections are probably going to be pretty good too. So this whole thing was fun, man. I loved this whole show. It's kind of like just had a blast, man. Had a blast. Great way to kick off season 8.
That's right. That's right. And for 8 seasons, of course, everybody knows we love the one, the only
Oprah!